So in this demo, we're going to add a few more things, but just to go over, we got our standard .vs Code settings for IntelliSense, and we've got our vconfig to fire off the app. But let's get into the index.html and that. Collapse the head part here. We have a calcite loader. Okay, so it's not inside the shell. Then after the loader, we have a shell. But notice we got these words in here, content hyphen behind and then hidden, right? That's kind of weird. Because normally when we do attributes, we see this, ID is equal to header title, slot is equal to header. So what are these things? They are attributes just like ID and slot, right? But they're called Boolean attributes. If they show up in the element, it means true. And if they are not there, it means false. So what it means is when this page first fires up, you'll see a spinning sort of loader, like progress bar, and you won't see the shell. Some code later on that will hook to the web map. When the web map says it's ready, we'll turn the loader off, we'll turn the shell on, make it visible, or make hidden equal to false, and that. And so we do have a classic heading content or element, and we're putting that in the header slot of the calcite shell because we're inside it. We have another calcite shell panel, which is going into the panel start, so that's over on the left. And that. It has an action bar with a bunch of actions inside. I'll expand that real quick, just like we've had before. I think the one change is or hyphen layers in that. In this demo, really important are these names here in that. So we're going to have a bunch of panels with very similar names in that. And so we have another panel down here with an ID called layers, which is matching this ID called layers in that. And so we're keeping this to what we're doing is we're syncing the names here so that this panel belongs to this button. So when you click this button, this panel will appear. It's hidden by default, right? And only if you click the button will it show on the screen. And then we put inside this panel a container, just a simple div, and we got to give it an ID so we can find it later in code. And we're actually put the layer widget in there from the JavaScript SDK or the Maps SDK for JavaScript from ArcGIS. Now the shell, that panel there ends about there. Let's collapse that. We have this div where we're going to put the map for the map view, except we didn't say what slot to put it in. So therefore, with the shell, it's going to go into the center slot called the default slot. And then we have a hook to our script. Now our script's a little bit busy because as you add more components and you want to have some reactivity, interactivity in that, then you need to code for that. And so we'll go back into main.js. So we have a few more imports here. We're going to get a web map by going to a portal and using an ID. We're going to put that web map in a map view, and eventually we'll tie the map view to the div I showed you previously. And then we're going to have the layer list widget, and we're going to dump that into that panel as well. That's the plan in that. So I've minimized this. This is the handler. So it's going through trying to figure out who did you click on. This is where we tie the handler to someone clicking on the action panel. This is like previous examples. It gets a little bit busier in here. This top part is this top part's more about turning, hiding the panel. This is showing the panel, and that we've only hooked up the code for one of these icons. So if we click on other icons, not much is going to happen. But if we click on the layers icon, we should get a layers list, and that. And now it's going to collapse this. It's a little bit busy so that we can focus on, okay, this is us making the web map, right, based on portal ID and a portal. This is some magic here because it was always starting out with calcite and the Maps SDK is when is something ready and who do we really need to talk to. My first attempts of this is I said when the map view is ready, but the map view in my case, is inside the shell. And if the shell is hidden, then the map view is like, well, I got nothing to do. And so it's never really ready. So we had to tie this code to the web map. And so when the web map sort of goes to the portal, gets its ID, figures out, okay, these are the layers I have, and this is where I'm looking in the world, then it feels like it's, when it's ready. And that it says, well, I'm ready to go. At that point, we are going to, I guess, I'm going to switch the order of these. They happen so fast it shouldn't matter, but we will hide the loader, hidden's true, and show the shell. Okay, then the map view has a hope of being getting ready in that. But the trigger is best to be tied to a map or a web map. And when those have figured that, hey, we've got our layers and we're kind of ready to go, then things are kind of getting ready. This is us making the map view. This is us sticking the web map in it. This is us hooking us to the view div, right? So we'll go back into index.html, this view div here. That's in the default. That's going to be put in the default of the shell because we didn't say where to put it. And that. Moving the zoom, I think, to the bottom right because the panels pop high, so they pop near the top on the left. So I'm moving the zoom down so they don't collide. And that. And this is the making a new layer list, right? So this is the layer list widget from the Maps SDK for JavaScript. It needs to know what view we're going to hook it to see, because then it'll go find the map and then find the layers. It needs to know what div do I go into? This one called layers container. And if we go back here, that's going to be in this. I have to expand this a little bit. It's this one right here. So this is a calcite panel that can pop, but it's not shown by default till later. And this is the div where we're going to put the layers panel in. I'm going to check one thing. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I have this commented out because I want you to see the difference in that. So let's get this fired off. And that, when I get it, when it pops, I will slide it over. And that still hasn't shown up on my other screen. Should soon. No, here it comes. And that. So the loader's going, right? And now it went away and the shell came in. So you saw the loader was working. And then we zoom into the default extent of the web map. Now, when we click on these, nothing's going to happen. If we went to the console, maybe up here, we probably see some things being typed to the console. And that. So we see some messages that, you're what we were clicking on. Panel not found because we don't have those other panels in there yet. But we do have this layers panel, right? Now the layers panel usually has some widgets that you can turn on and off. And when you look at this, you go, that just looks like a stock HTML unordered list in that. And so when you have that feeling like, hey, that doesn't look right, okay, that should be like a layers widget, should have that little eyeball symbol that I can turn on and off, kind of stuff. And that's usually where you're missing a style in that. And so this is bringing in the Easerai light theme styles and that. So I'm just going to bring this back. Actually, I'll go to the front of it, hit the home key, control / to uncomment it. Now it's probably already changed because I'm slow on the wheel here, but already, see the styling. So anytime you have when you're working with this technology, calcite, or you're working with the Maps SDK and some of the widgets don't look right, it's usually because you're missing a style sheet and that. Now the thing is, this is the fancy thing. You saw under the hood, what is this? Well, content-wise, it's just a stock HTML unordered list. And what's in the list is the name of the layers, neighborhood, structures, parks. And it's the web component plus the style sheet that helps tie it into the fact that, hey, no, we have an icon, and when we click it, we swap the icon out, and we also make a call into the web map to turn off that particular layer, right? So you can see, watch these lines, right? And so that's working. And we can turn all these off, turn them back on, and that sort of thing. But without the style sheet, you just get the raw data, which would be the names of the layers. And with the full web component, then you get the icons, the interactivity, the icons changing as you click on them uh, to turn off the layers and that. And so it starts to look a lot better, and you get all that functionality that you didn't have before. Again, I'll go back here uh, and I'll go control / to comment that as quickly as I can. I'm going to try to bring this forward. Right, I wasn't that fast. In that, and see, it's just layers. The font is not quite the font is supposed to be, and this is a unordered list kind of concept. Uh, but if we click on this, nothing happens, right? And so those styles, besides making it look proper, also tie it to the proper web component in that. So control / to on comment that. I'll try to bring this back, and now it's working properly. So if you ever get that feeling like, hey, it's kind of half working but doesn't look right, probably missing a style in that. And right now, yes, I should be able to clear it. And then as you click on different things, right? Panel not found, right? Deactivated layers, but I couldn't find a panel for the I guess legend. Can't find for the base maps. Can't find it for the bookmarks or the info because we haven't implemented those parts yet. That'll be part of the assignment. But that'll it's just to get you warmed up onto Calcite, how it works when things go wrong. Usually a style. If you ever find your map floating freely, like it's scrolling forever, usually the map doesn't know what size it is. And so it's just expanding and bringing more tiles in. But that's all I want to go over in this demo. That's all for now.